use a method called SMART. It was such a difficult time in my life that I felt like it was an attack. Oh my god, it's been a while since I actually filmed in real time, or a sit down talk video for that matter. Yeah, so I guess here is one. I am super duper excited. Hi, for those that are new, I am that African skin to Darko, and I welcome you to my humble channel. And please be sure to subscribe to my channel, like my videos, comment on them, and share them because they might be helpful to another. So yeah, if you're here today, grab some popcorn because you are on the Hear Word podcast. So I welcome you to Hear Word, and on today's episode of Hear Word podcast, we are going to talk about goals and gratitude. And this video is inspired by Oyin Brandy, a Canadian content creator. So be sure to check her channel out on YouTube as well. So let's start with gratitude. Let's roll it back all the way to January 2024. Actually, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Let's start from October 2023. October 2023, I went to Berlin and I was there for half a year, 6 months. And I think the good was more than the bad. So to be fair, I had a great time in Berlin, and I'm really thankful to God for that time of my life, because even though I was scared while I was going, I didn't know what to expect based on previous bad experiences I've had at internships. But I went with an open mind. I said, you know what, let me just go with an open arm and an open mind and just embrace whatever that is going to come, good or bad, because I needed this in order to graduate, and we're going to get there in a bit. So I went to Berlin. I learned, I cried, I laughed, and I'm thankful for that time of my life because it made me feel invincible. Actually, if you follow me on Instagram, you realize that my time in Berlin was when I was mostly active on social media. I had a lot of free time on my hand, so I traveled to quite a few places. I went to Berlin, Brandenburg, I went to Potsdam, I went to Hamburg, all within that time. I had other places to go, but I was burned out at the end of the day because I was doing so much with like so little time. So if you find, like, I'm going to post subsequent vlogs, and then if my vlogs are not of the best quality, please forgive me. And it's because I was literally burned out and I was like all over the place. So yeah, I think Berlin taught me to become mature, to become independent, because prior to Berlin, my goal was to actually learn how to live on my own, which I am doing now, and I'm thankful to God. But yeah, that's actually what Berlin taught me, even though it came with its own downs and its own negative effects. You know, I think all in all, Berlin was good to me. It taught me that I could actually become who God says I am, and that the world is also like my home. I'm like a cosmopolitan. I'm a world or a global citizen, for that matter. At least that's how I felt. If you want like detailed advice, let's say you're moving to Berlin or you have plans of visiting Berlin, please let me know. Obviously, I'm going to post my vlogs to give you guys tips and tricks in what you can do in Berlin. But if you want a detailed video, if you are planning to move in Berlin, please comment down below and I will do that. That was like the first quarter. I arrived back home in Holland in April, the beginning of the second quarter, and when I arrived, I was quite confident in who I was. I was quite confident I was going to do social media full time, especially YouTube. But that turned out to be the opposite, because I arrived in April and we had to go back to school immediately, and exams was like 3 months after we've been in school. And being away from school for like almost a year meant like you forget so many things you're being taught. And this was like our final exams. Based on these exams, you are going to either pass or fail, repeat a class, or graduate with a diploma. It was one of the darkest times of my life because for some reason I just felt helpless, in the sense that I came back from Berlin with a lot of hope. I had a lot of ideas, a lot of plans. And if you're not a Christian, you can skip this part, but I felt like it was an attack. And the teachers were not helping us well because they were just fooling it with I don't know if it's stress, but they were like, well, you have to study hard. If you don't, mind you, this is not just to me, but to the entire class. This is the final exams, and you have to give it all you have, because if you fail, for some reason, that's kind of stuck with me in a very bad way, It kept ringing in my mind, I'm going to fail. And I could see like majority of people in our class were under stress. I thought I would fail. At least that's how it felt at that time. But obviously, I had a support of my family, and of course with prayers. It was kind of tough. Actually, I got to a point where I actually wanted to drop out of school, but my mom was so firm. She was like, "Are you going to throw away 2 years and about 9 months? You're almost done with school. Is it just the 3 months that you're going to throw away?" I was actually scared, and the preparation was super intense. But thanks be to God, we were able to pass the exams. And funny enough, when it got to the actual exam week, it wasn't as bad, honestly. With all the preparations and all the anxiety and all the nervousness I felt, I went into the exams and I was like, is this it? Is this the exams? Is this why I was so depressed? And I realized it wasn't normal. It wasn't just ordinary. Because we all felt the pressure, but for some reason, I felt it so hard. It felt like the world was against me. I was just paranoid. But this dark moment taught me to go back to God, to go back to a place of prayer. So I had to take myself off social media for a while. I wasn't posting. I think I haven't posted social media as much in the past. I think in those 6 months or so, even after my exams, I wasn't really posting at all. It was a very difficult time for me, but it taught me to go back to God in prayer. It taught me that God was closer to me, even though I thought he was far away from me at that time. And to God be the glory, your girl is 2 diplomas hot, 2 degrees. I passed at once, and I passed with ease. But it was such a difficult time in my life that it felt like I lost my purpose in life. Like, even though I had whatever I wanted, that was a diploma at the end of the day, it didn't, I don't know, I just felt like whatever it was, it really did affect me at a time very much. 3rd quarter of the year, so in the 3rd quarter of the year, that was around July, right after graduation, I moved from my parents' house. I'm currently based in Amsterdam. The reason being that I studied travel and hospitality management, which is actually a big deal. At least for me, but where I live with my daddy, that was not the kind of jobs that were there, and it was quite hard to find a job. It wasn't going to work for me, so I decided to move closer to the city and hope I would find a job. And so I moved, and it was quite difficult, but again, the goal was to be independent, right? I think it was the right time, because I've had this goal for a long while, and seeing it manifest this year was actually, it felt like I was dreaming, because I still have it in my diary. I was like, I'm going to find an apartment in Amsterdam or Utrecht. That's also like another city in the Netherlands. I had that vision, but I was looking maybe like 5 years from now. At the time, I think that would have been, I think 5 years from now or something like that. So I still have about 3 or 2 years before, at least according to my diary, for me to achieve that dream. But seeing it happen this year was so surreal, and that makes me know that when you set your mind to something, you can actually achieve it. And that's, where we have a will, God will always make a way for us, for sure. And it's not easy. So that goes to say that if you also have plans of being independent, of living on your own, most importantly in this time, in this era, you have to have savings. My savings was able to get me through, because in the first 3-4 months, I struggled finding a job. Did I find jobs? Yes, but were they the jobs that I wanted? No. And along the line, I was cheated. and so many things happened, and it made me realize how real the world is. When you are living with your parents, you kind of live in your fantasy bubble. You spend your money on what you want, and this doesn't go for everybody, but it depends on where you live, right? Because in the Netherlands there's like housing shortage. So if you have dreams of ever leaving your parents' house, especially in this time, well, peace be unto you finding a place. It's quite hard. It's like trying to find a pin or a needle in a haystack. I managed to find something. So what is going to help you is your savings. And I'm not asking you to work to save your whole life and not enjoy. No, don't throw away your 20s, because that's the time you could actually learn from mistakes, or learn and relearn. So I wouldn't ask you to throw it away, but I would also advise you to do it in a very reasonable, very logical, and a very rational way. And that goes to say you have to save, save a lot. Have money, like cash somewhere, have some in a bank account. And I'm going to actually do a detailed video on that, but we'll come back to that later. So yeah, if I didn't have savings, I would have struggled. Did I have support? Of course, because I moved in with my partner, and so then you have a little bit of support. I wouldn't be able to do it alone. But what if a situation isn't like my own? What if you have to move out on your own? What if you don't have anyone to hold you financially? Even with my partner, I did still have savings. And I also want to give you one tip, especially to the youth and the young people, young men and women, especially living in the diasporas. Trust me, that savings you are sitting on thinking they are going to build generational wealth out of it. If you're not in your 30s, trust me, that money, I don't even know how. Even if you're in your 30s, you can't build generational wealth out of your money. So spend it, but spend it wisely. Spend it on investing in yourself. Spend it on experiences. Spend it on learning something new. Spend it on a skill. Spend it on development, growth. Spend it on investing in your future, investing in a house, anything. Spend it in a way that is going to actually bring value, not necessarily monetary value, but a value that could get you far. Because you're not going to build generational wealth out of it. Because I thought my life savings at the time, which was around 5,000, 6,000 euros, was going to like help me. When I get a job, I will build upon this money. And I can tell you confidently, like, I have nothing left of that 6,000, and I'm now working to build from scratch. So spend that money, but spend it wisely. Travel the world, buy a book, bake, learn a skill, learn a language. Do something with that money that would actually bring you profits in the future. Moving on to the last quarter of 2024. The last quarter has been good by God's grace. Everything is aligning, and I'm grateful to God. My family is still alive. My loved ones are alive. I'm alive. We are healthy. We are strong. We are happy. And I just want to give God all the praise, because even when the moments felt dark, even when I felt like I'm never coming out of this, it was actually a lesson for me. And what this year has taught me, in a nutshell, is that I'm invincible. I'm a flame of fire. When I set my mind to something, I can actually do it. I am destined for greatness. I'm prophecy fulfilled. And everything I say and everything I do is backed by God and backed by the heavens. I'm unstoppable. Would I experience downfalls? Yes, but if I fall 10,000 times, I'm going to rise 100,000 times. That goes for you as well. So if you're watching me today and you still have goals that you've not implemented, goals you wanted to implement this year, I just want to tell you, like, the year is still not over until it's actually over. And you can still achieve them. And if you feel like you've been through so much and this year wasn't good to you, trust me, imagine yourself dead. When you die, there's no hope. But you are alive today. So if you are alive today, be grateful, be thankful, because somebody is struggling to be alive. Another is hungry, another just lost a limb, another is praying for their life, another lost their family. With all the things that are going on in the world, if you are alive, if you are healthy, you are clothed, you have a roof over your head, you have food to eat, be grateful. And if you've made it this far this year, be thankful. And go to church to, like, the next Sunday. Whenever you see this video, whatever Sunday it is, go to church, give God an offering and thank him for how far he's brought you. Moving on, goals. Obviously you have to have goals. Like I said, if you haven't achieved your goals, all of the goals for this year, try to achieve them, unless they are not really small goals. And I'm going to teach you how to set goals that are actually achievable. When I set a goal, I use a method called SMART, SMART. And you're wondering, what is SMART? Well, let me explain. So I set specific goals that are measurable, that are acceptable and achievable, that are realistic, and that is attached to time. So let's say you have a goal that says, I want to pray every morning. That's actually a SMART goal. Why? Because it's specific. I want to pray. It's measurable. I want to pray every morning. Is it realistic? Yes. Is it acceptable? Yes. Is it attached to time or fixed to time? Yes, because it said every morning. And so when you set goals like this, you actually have more control over the goals, and it's easier to get them done. It's like having a task. Maybe the whole day you have so many things to do, but when you break it down into what is important and what is less important and put it in that order of important to less important, you have a more clearer overview of it, and then you can take it off one by one. So what I do when I'm setting goals is I list my goals, like whatever that comes to my mind, I write it down on a sheet of paper. Once I have everything off my chest, I begin to arrange the goals from priority or most important to least important or less of a priority. And after I do that, I read the goals to see if they are specific, and if they are measurable, and if they are acceptable and achievable, and if they are realistic and attached to time. So each goal you set, you have to actually attach a time frame to it. That within this time frame, I should be able to do this. For example, I want to reduce or lose weight and be maybe 65 kg before the end of March. When you write a goal like this, it's clear, it's smart, and then you go down to write steps on how to achieve that goal, and make sure they are also smart, specific, measurable, achievable or acceptable, realistic, and attached to time. So that's what I do. So with that being said, let's just go through some of the goals that I want to achieve quickly for the year 2025. Obviously, if you want to have a better view of your goals, it's best to categorize them. That's what I do. So I have financial goals, I have maybe social goals, I have YouTube goals, which I turn it's professional goals, I have spiritual goals, which is what I'm going to do as a Christian to feed myself. So when you break down your goals into this, if you want a video, you know what, let me actually, this video is going to be too long, so I'm going to do a separate video explaining how this whole concept of smart goal setting works, and hopefully before the end of this year. And so when you set the goals like that, you get a more clear view of it. For me, I have so many goals, but most importantly, what I want to do for YouTube. Obviously, I want to grow on YouTube, and what I'm doing is I'm not waiting for next year to be like new year, new me, new goals. I'm starting like right now. And what am I doing? I'm doing that by being active on social media, by trying to clear my drafts, because I have so many videos that when they take so long, they become irrelevant and they become boring to watch. So I'm trying to clear these drafts as soon as possible. It's a lot of editing work, but I'm going to put in my best and make sure I'm giving the quality of the qualities. I don't know if that's a word or that's a phrase or whatever, but I'm going to give all my best shots and try and clear my draft. Obviously, I want to go to 1,000 subscribers, so I'm going to be active on social media and active on YouTube, especially. I just want to be able to get my channel monetized, hopefully before the end of next year. And so I'm doing everything in my power to do that. It also comes to my notice, and based on my own experience, because I do watch my videos on a large screen and I can see that my videos are very shaky. Of course, I have invested in materials to help lessen the shaky effect, but it's time that I put more time and effort into my editing skills, into my filming skills, so that I could actually give you guys quality. Because I realized when I have a video idea, I am too excited that I actually don't sit down to plan out my videos, and so I do it impulsively, and sometimes it turns out good, but sometimes I miss the key details. And so what I'm going to do for my YouTube is also learn more editing skills, learn which tools to use, invest in quality editing softwares and applications, and invest in my filming technique, not my filming materials, but my filming technique. And hopefully I'll be able to grow my channel, because gone are the days where I didn't really care about the videos I put out there, but now I want to engage you guys as well. I want to involve you guys in the process, as I'm going to be active on social media as well, asking for questions, asking for how to be better, and I hope you guys will help me in that as well. And so I'm just going to bring the video to an end here, because it's going to be too long and I don't want it to be too long. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this video would transform your life impeccably, and I hope that you've learned something today. Thank you for coming by and watching to this point. Before I go, don't forget to be you, do you, live life, do the finest things in life, love God, and aim for space. And I will definitely see you on my next one. Till then, ciao.